Welcome back to another video, ladies and gentlemen. We're back here, and we're doing the investigation, and I guess the trial. It looks like he was stabbed multiple times before the culprit plunged the dagger firmly in one spot. Surrounding the dagger in his body, Forte had several tears in his shirt, exposing the lacet in his abdomen underneath. The laces were noticeably fluttered around the abnormal area. Forte's body was aligned face up, with a familiar dagger stuck in his abdomen. That darling dagger. It seems the scenario were anything like... If this scenario was anything like the scenario when I found Missy to investigate, I can only assume the dagger came from her possession. But why did Missy suffer a huge lash? What is that? Is that like a claw? Behind Forte's head was a stable full of blood. Is it possible he fell backwards and the back of his head hit something from the impact? Thought was upsetting. And that's it, I guess. Say was emotionally and expressionless. She didn't dare look at anything except the body that lay before her. I didn't know where to begin with questioning her. I didn't want to suspect her a bit, but it was difficult to think otherwise. She didn't appear to make any attempt of hiding her involvement either. I stammered for a minute before giving up entirely. So what's the big idea, Say? Saying nothing just makes you more suspicious, you know. Well, it certainly doesn't make her any less suspicious either. Sure, but blood makes a complete case in favoring of suspicion of murder. Thanks for nothing. Any thoughts? Just one. Say it's the culprit. Seems plainly clear enough, but does that seem like something she would do? Well, who knows? It's more likely while the other groups was investigating something occurred that provoked her. Oh, you might know a little more since you two have been talking lately. It's nothing like that. She doesn't talk. I usually just think out loud to her as how she might behave. I can't put a pin on her. So exclusive, the obvious potential culprit. I'm a freak. It was only understandable that both of us were stunned. Hang on, it was like glitching. Okay. See what can shows up. Dead or alive, that is. There's nothing really to investigate. The scene was gruesome. Despite that, there didn't seem to be much of note. Did you find anything? Say I have half an idea of what happened would be a stretch. There's very little to draw conclusions, well, except for, well, and I looked at Say. Forte's body, Say bloodied state, and essentially looked could be more straightforward. I can't believe this. Is there even a victim report? Maybe if we return to the foyer, we'll find one printed on the noise. I'd like to see the victim report as well. I'm displeased to say that I'm unaware of what happened here. Missy returned to the trial ground from the infirmary, a gauze dressing upon the inflicted wound. As Missy scanned the bloody scene once more, her downcast gaze paused to meet Say's. Say, why don't you get cleaned up? You're being awfully casual with the culprit. Missy didn't respond. She offered a hand to Say, who stiffly reached up to receive it. Two of them left the crime scene without a word. Were we supposed to stop them? It's not like they'd get very far. I don't even know where to start on how strange this all is. Let's just get down to the foyer and find the victim report. There's no use standing around dead bodies. Here will probably clean this place up for the trial ground anyways. I nodded. Lyle started towards the elevator and I glanced at Forte's body one last time. We took the elevator back down to the foyer once more. Arriving at the foyer, Lyle went straight for the main noise. Stepped out to follow, but a familiar sight. A familiar photograph was dangling on the floor. It had a small puncture at the top of it. Huh? I've seen this before. It was the same photograph Missy received for her special gift, but this time, I wasn't with her when she received it. However, I noticed that the wall near the elevator had a similar small puncture that matched the photograph. Could it be the two punctures on the wall with the photograph? Could that be in case of Missy pinned the photo to the wall with Darling Stinger like last time? But the photo's on the floor, a puncture is in the wall, and the dagger is in a different place. Someone must have taken the dagger out of the wall. I think it's Missy. I'm gonna be straight up honest. I genuinely do think it's Missy. Mostly just because of the fact with the way that wings are look up. You got Say, who was covered in blood with no wounds. You got Missy, who is basically stabbed. Basically tried to be killed, I guess. Forte, who is dead. I was with Lyle, and Cannon's nowhere to be found. I think with all that, I think Missy is the culprit. What did it mean, if it meant anything at all? Hey, Echo, the victim report is over here. Ah, sorry, coming. I also over to Lyle as he waved the postcard-sized blank sheet. Victim, Forte Solo. The victim's body was discovered on the trial grounds. The estimated time of death was 13:45, or I think that's 1:45? Yeah, it is. What is that? You're telling me this is completely useless. Doesn't even say cause of death. Yeah, it's all dodgy. Wonder if Gary had anything to do with manipulating the report. You think she had something to do with it? Well, I'm not ruling out the possibility. If Gary allegedly lost her overseeing ability, it might be possible she had the capability of manipulating the report from the workstation. I grumbled at the thought of another suspicious act. Oh, that reminds me, Cannon is still absent. I hope she's okay. She must be. If she were dead, another victim report would have turned up. It's not very comforting. After our brief discussion about the victim report, Missy and Say emerged from the living quarters, meeting us in the foyer. Say's expression remained as somber as before. Missy's eyes were shifting with unease. The two of them may have cleaned themselves up from the scene before, but whatever was going through their mind continued to darken their faces. The trial may start any minute now. Let's use this time wisely to get information out of these two. Obviously, we're starting with the one who was covered in blood. Say, are you okay? You get hurt or anything? No, I'm fine. You're fine? They nodded. That's good to hear. Why? Do you care? Well, you're safe. That's always good news. So she came out of the mess completely unscathed. Unlike Missy, who received a nasty scar, and unlike Cannon, who was completely missing. Where is Cannon? What is going on? Do you have anything to say about the crime scene? No. It should be crystal clear what happened there. You say that, but... Say closed her eyes and turned away, ending the conversation promptly. Couldn't bring myself to believe it. But what? There's nothing more to say about this. She's asking for this. Shouldn't be a trial for something as clear as this. I just don't want to jump to hasty conclusions, okay? We might suffer the consequences of a poor decision if we go with the most obvious. We had to be careful. The trial ground was our only chance to clear the confusion, even if it did look clear as day. Missy, are you alright? I'll survive. Fortunately, the cut was too deep. That's a relief. What happened? To be honest, I haven't heard the foggiest. I can hardly even recall where I ended up. Start from the top. Where did your group go when we split up? We visited Cyrus's room to gather information. I used the dagger calmly to knock the doorknob over and unlock the hatch. Indeed, we found files of the preservation project. The class Doy's era detailing our background, same floor in the area you visited. After exhausting the file information, we visited the shroud ground thinking we could confront that one Edmund in this game. However, Zero is nowhere to be found. He hit a dead end. Figures. Whoa. Missy's story lined up with striking similarity to what she did when I explored the main floor with her and Forte. If that was true, it's likely I knew exactly what information was detailed, thanks to the strange occurrence I experienced. While we were idolizing the Trigon, the motive tape at Forte came into play. Forte had a bit of a sorrow look about him when he heard the song, and say she got nothing. We had hit a dead end, and we searched the most damning places we could think of, and yet nothing still popped up. That said, I decided to enjoy what I learned about Say from the file. Say had some connection to Zero. Say knows Zero. Oh yeah, the only ones who knew about that were Say and Zero. Were the ones who stayed in the foyer and investigated. Cyrus confidently information. Yeah, I plead for her to share what she knew, and she admitted for the sake of escaping our enclosure. But rather than assisting, it appears she snuck her dagger from my possession and lashed out at me. Say, attacked you? I'm afraid so. I must have said something wrong to provoke her. At this point, all I can recall is toppling back from all the sudden offense as Forte put himself between me and Say. She made a threat to harm herself, detecting the dagger at herself, after which Forte made a move to take the dagger, but seeing as she unharmed it was a false alarm. I probably hit my head or something, because I must have blacked out until you two came. Missy trailed off. It was discomforting seeing her so unsure. As far as the mission goes, Say was the last one wielding the dagger, the very same thing that's planted in Forte's body right now. That is correct. That doesn't seem to be any other conclusion here. It's essentially a locked room murder with only one possible culprit. It'd be very difficult to contest otherwise. I just wouldn't be able to sit with myself if I really did cause her to spiral this far. Her voice cracked with remorse. I wanted to reassure her that it wasn't her fault, but I didn't want to lie and let anyone down. The situation was getting more and more bleak by the minute. By the way, where's Kenan? Wish we could tell you. Looks like you didn't see her crawling around up here either. She disappeared when we were investigating beyond the foyer doors. Can't say where she ran off to though. I see. Her absence during all this is quite discouraging. Not to mention, I don't seem to have the revolver in my possession anymore. Missy reached into her coat pocket but came up short. You have got to be kidding. The revolver was missing. That along with Cannon's absent was cause for concern. Where did you two learn in the secret floor beneath us? Well, the room floor, trophy room, and testing chambers. We didn't explore the trophy room, but outside, it looks from it. It's just display for the hunting game. However, we found the physical bodies of Zero and Eve, or Ahikito quartz and Gary spray in the testing chambers. Oh, so you've learned their identities as well. Yeah, you don't seem surprised. 2 student profiles were in the class drawer. Well, they were included. They weren't participants beyond me. You'd think that the information would be better hidden. Other than that, we didn't really find anything else of note. I see. And none of you were near the crime scene as well. No, when blackout or we are immortalized, stuck in the testing chambers until the lights return. There was a blackout? I had no idea. It must have hit when I was in my daze. Couldn't help. It caused snowball effects with Say resulting in Forte's death. Missy crumbled under her breath. She was visibly trying to wrap her head around what we had learned. After learning about the details of Missy's side events, things were getting more and more tangled up. Echo, a word? After talking to Missy and Say, Lyle and I shut it off to the sidebar. I wonder what could have put everyone in participation situations. Never mind that, we have a very clear culprit here, don't you agree? If you point out who it is right away, the answer will come spilling out. I don't know if it's as simple as you think. Don't get all contemplated on me. Look, it's dangerous to make assumptions. I don't want to suffer needless consequences if we can help it. I get that, but don't discount a healthy suspicion. There's no use in blindly following someone's word and word alone, especially when there's one adrenaline starts messing with their perception of the situation. In fact, it can get messed up. Agreed. We've experienced it personally. Lyle and I were on the same page. Although our approaches were different, the only thing we had got forward was our intuition. We have to put our heads together. We won't make anywhere if we don't work together. I hope I can count on you for that. Likewise, but I can't promise anything. Where on earth is Cannon, though? Last I recall, she's been acting a little worrisome since last night, and I don't think it helped frustrating that you tried to take her camera. Lau shot a dark look for a second before casting his gaze under his heavy eyelids. She's not most trustworthy, okay? Running around doing who knows what, though. I should stir the pot, I suppose. I sighed. I couldn't disagree with Lyle's strengths, but Cannon did make an attempt to cheer me up somewhat. I couldn't flat out accuse Lyle. I couldn't help but think his behavior was a result of me rejecting her photograph. It's that time, folks! Last trial time. The elevator will take you all to the courtroom once everyone has entered. Not that there's much of you left. The four of us sulked into the elevator once more, the door sliding closed as we anxiously stood for what discovery would make in the courtroom. We stood in the elevator, unmoving. Jeez, what's going on this time? The door slid open once more. Where have you been? I thought you were dead! Cannon crept into the elevator. The doors finally closed and the elevator began to move. She was alive, thankfully. Cannon? Where the hell have you been? We didn't hear a single breath from her. Her silence was deafening. She faced away from the rest of us, completely unreadable. Cannon was alive after all, but her behavior after last night and her absence during this whole mess, it was worrisome. Cannon and I whispered, but she didn't react at all. Cannon made a hauntingly retreat. Given what we knew about the revolver gone missing and Cannon's disappearance from the testing chambers moments before the body's announcement. Was I too late? Was this my fault?
Danganronpa.
She didn't turn. Cannon, I was cold to you last night. You don't have to apologize. I ought to be the one who's sorry. Cannon's voice was hushed. Huh? I'm sorry. But you don't have to apologize for anything to be sorry for. I'm the one who tore your well-intuited photo in half. Cannon? What did she mean I ought to be the one who's sorry? The atmosphere was disqualling. No one said a word. We stoically received all of our injuries and queries from the upcoming trial. Chapter 4. Endless and Unfamiliar. Another visit to the trial grounds. Wait. Hang on, I'm trying to piece this together real quick. I thought, for sure... Okay, because I'm gonna be honest, I saw somewhere that there was only 4 trials, or chapters. So, is this the last trial of the game? Every trace of the crime scene has been removed, as if nothing happened. However, I still saw a faint phantom image of blood painted on the floor, burned black in my eyes. The 5 of us swept in, warily footstepped each other in the chamber as we habilitated negatively to our respective stands in silence. Another trial. When we split up, our groups had discovered a slew of information that attempted to explain our captivity. But in spite of making these discoveries that we thought would help us prevent further danger, another one of our group has fallen. It's unfortunate that I must greet you like this, but welcome back to the trial grounds. A fuzzy hologram of Gary appeared before us.
Oh, you're here too. Sure, whatever. Showing your face isn't gonna change anything, you know.
Gary, do you know anything about what happened to Forte? I can't say that I do, but please, consider my presence as your assistant to your discovery should be anything answered. I will do my best. Garrett, jeez, this has been nothing but useless. If anything, I would voice that zero as well. At least, respect my testimony. What makes you think you can pull the wool over our eyes? What if you two are concluding?
You give her too much credit. At this point, she's nothing but an obstacle. Eve? Or rather, you know her now as Gary. Now as Snitch. I'm the only one who knows for certain whether you'll be voting correctly or incorrectly after all. What kind of judge would I be if I didn't know? Baron Gara Ming, stripping her of prize. Huh? But we're not here to talk about that, so let's get this show on the road! Class trial, all rise. Let's go over the rules, shall we? You're all here on trial to figure out who the culprit of today's heinous crime. The rules are followed. Discuss, discover, and determine the culprit among your group. A majority vote will seal the individual's fate. And hey, we've just seen what happens from there, yeah? One of a few outcomes will occur. Determine and vote incorrectly, and the entire class is executed with the culprit alone able to walk free and win the ultimate prize. That is the ideal endgame for the culprit. Determine and vote correctly, and the culprit alone will see proper retribution and perish at the hands of your group's decisions. You just might live to see another day! Our victim today is Forte Solo, the ultimate opera singer. It's a real shame he never got to hear that bass baritone voice of his. Bless la vie. So, you'll know what to do. I'm sure you'll get this done real quick. Theo chuckled to himself after his brisk opening statement. We all stand each other from circumstances of stands, our eyes locking onto the most suspicious. Don't waste your breath. This one's an obvious answer. Is that so? Let us be the judge of that. This case is going to be difficult, but we need to try. Though, I desperately wish this wouldn't happen again. A culprit must be found. First things first, we can't ignore Say was right in the middle of the crime scene, drenched in blood, presumably from the victim himself. It is insufferable in the sheer amount of evidence proving that you are fault for this. Make your own judgment. Fine. There's no way around the fact that no one else could have killed Forte, but I suppose I'll entertain you. Let's clear up everyone's alibis. When the six of us split up, two groups were as followed. Missy, Forte, and Say went to investigate the floors. We've seen Canon, Echo, and I went to investigate beyond the foyer door. Here's what Gary's statement will prove useful. Yeah, me, Lau, and Canon were together with her for a majority of the afternoon, down in the testing chambers. That is correct. I have not left the testing chambers since my release. As for supporting Lau and Echo's statement, I did not see anyone leave the testing chambers. Nonetheless, I unfortunately took no notice of when Canon supposedly left. Yeah, Canon managed to slip out unnoticed with Lyle and I spoke to Gary. Where did you go? I had to step out. Step out and where to? Back to the main wing so you can sneak around the plot something on your own? Canon, what in the main wing? If she were to... Okay. The three of us didn't see a trace of her when we explored the room, and the three of us went up the elevator before Forte's demise. So only three of you went up. Missy, is there anything you can tell us about your group's exploration? Forte is no longer with us, and Say's obviously culprit number one. And Say might be unreliable. Doesn't the blood speak for itself? Say, one moment. I have to come to a conclusion so hastily, so I would know what occurred leading to the events of the cause of my side to investigate, to unravel so grievously. The three of us moved this one until the main wing for the entirety of our investigation. Like I said, we all entered the trial grounds together.
And
Well, I cannot speak more plainly about what occurred, although I wish that anything if it were untrue. But that wish but dust, the slash of this case has proven this. Say turned the dagger on me.
clear as day, say Kano is the culprit behind Forte's murder.
Hold it. If you asked me to act now, I wouldn't lay a vote against Say. I was the only one to present when she made her assault. I should know what her motive caused harm was, and I say it was not with murderous intent.
Say still harmed you though. The action alone could be indicative of more. Case in point, the very pertinent murder of Forte, or you protecting her. What do you have to gain from doing something like that? Hang on, if Missy has an explanation, we should hear her out. I'm still apprehensive about voting too quickly, especially when we haven't established rhyme or reason.
Indeed, my testimony is not driven to gain anything except the truth. Would I not be endangering myself if I vote against Say?
I see what's going on. Knowing tiresome you all are, you want to dig for a reason behind this sort of thing, despite seeing that the conclusion will not be more telling. Fine, let's talk motivation. Just cut to the chase, will you? It would be helpful after all, Zero explicitly delivered motivations and different targets way to course of the afternoon. Motivations. What could have caused Say to turn the dagger against Missy, and possibly against Forte as well? And did hearing other motivation cause something else to behave differently? Hopefully in turn we might have to get an answer to Lyle's question of what Missy might have to gain if she was potentially for protecting Say. Let's see, everyone has to say about their specific motives.
My motive? It was a photograph. My motive, along with Canada, was delivered shortly after the two groups parted ways. A photograph of the bloody portrait of a friend whose the dagger belonged to. Say the announcement didn't direct any sort of gift to you. That's right.
And Lau, your motive? It was in the blackout as a result of my fear of the dark. Let's see, everyone has to say about their respective motive.
My motive was a photograph.
We know that much. Care to explain what was on the photograph?
No, I didn't look at it.
Do you want us to suspect you? For all we know, you could have been planning something from the moment you received the photograph.
Lyle, hang on. If Missy didn't see Cannon around, it's not fair to call Cannon the culprit right away.
Don't think there's something strange about her not being where the lights went out.
Though she claimed that she didn't look at the motive photograph, Cannon's absolutely strange majority of the afternoon was concerning. Let's see what everyone has to say about their specific motives. Photo was a bloody portrait.
That's what I want to know.
Missy withdrew the stinging dagger she clung after the second trial. I admit, I was becoming a to confront with one of called Puppet Masters, pinning and mocking photo on the wall outside the elevator with the dagger. However, the dagger ended up on the trial grounds as the murder weapon. I firmly suspect Sage strictly received the photo from the wall to conceal her passion before attacking me in a state of panic.
So we were able to trace the dagger's origin to you, but your claim has left the wall abnormally before entering the elevator.
Correct.
I still wasn't sure if we could write off the conclusion of Missy's work just yet. Missy not taking the dagger into into the trial ground seems intentionally somehow. Let's see what everyone has to say about their specific motives.
My motive,
we've done that. Alright, let's see what this is.
That's true. Forte's own song was announced first, and Say's announcement of nothing followed shortly.
Did she react to the message? Did she react to the message in any way?
She didn't react in any particular manner, no. Nothing. It's only fitting for me. Is that so? It's possible that Sei being left out might have left an impression on her. Wow, your motive was the fear of the darkness. I wasn't aware like something like that occurred. Yeah, but if you didn't remember any of it, it might have lasted for the duration of when you were knocked out. I see. What does my motive have to do with this case? We've already discussed that me, Echo, and Gary were together on the floor beneath the foyer, nowhere near the trial grounds. Well, we have to assume it's affected the entire building, and the group upstairs also lost their visibility. The darkness occurred has to be some bearing of the timeline of events. Say, do you recall a blackout occurring? Yes. Can't believe I have to ask, but do you care to elaborate at all? It's unimportant. Is that so? But during the moment before Gary found the flashlight, it was too dark to even see my own hand in front of my face. How would it be possible for anyone to do anything without visibility? Based on the murder scene, we have a glaringly obvious culprit, but none of us could understand why Sei acted in such a way. To make things more confusing, Sei is the only one without properly delivered motive. The timing and respected intensity of each individual motive, it must create some violence in our headspace as far as I can tell. It's a little tough to follow which ones are and aren't relevant, though, now that I think about it, what if announcing them was the purpose of the motive? What, announcing the motives? But why would someone else's motive affect anyone but the person it's meant for? Well, I was just thinking, I didn't receive a personalized motive either, but to hear that everyone got something that would try to provoke them to murder, wouldn't that be frightening? To hear who has motives and a reason to kill, feel tormented that others could turn on you. That's all I can think of. Sei received her motive last, but at least before Lyle's blackout. In that case, we're back to square one. Sei's the culprit. You just explained a reason why she'd be motivated to kill, despite not receiving a personalized motive herself. She heard all the motives previous to hers and must have been shaking by the potential of everyone turning on her. Well, it's impossible, but no buts. If you need more proof, let's move on. With the advent of Missy's claim as Sei attacking in mind, the next topic is obvious, that is, the state of Forte's body. Yes, the victim report was extremely non-specific, more than previous. Fag, on purpose, most likely. There was an innumerable amount of stab wounds in his abdomen, likely from the dagger where it was finally stuck in his body. Stab through? Cannon quickly fell silent. Something you want to share? Oh, that's right, Cannon. You didn't even see the body, did you? No, I didn't see the body. Then, something wrong? Nothing's wrong. Then why are you so shocked that Forte was stabbed? You clearly know something. Lyle, he's back. But please, Cannon, if you notice anything odd, we need your help. Something odd? My help? I shot Forte. What? Okay. Huh? You did what? Cannon? That's what you were up to. You better explain yourself. Not only was a revolver out of Missy's hand when you met up with her, but you also have no alibi whatsoever. I would hope Cannon isn't as consistent the person you think she is to deny information as critical as this was concerned. But I must know as well, when did you come to the foyer, and at what end did you revolver last bullet entry finally been spent? Cannon freely admitted she caused harm to Forte, but to know what she meant to do such a thing caused the anticipation to rise to my chest. That is why the fucking cause of death wasn't on the card. It's because while he was stabbed, he was also shot. Crap. Did the bullet kill him? Is Cannon the culprit? Or did the stab wound kill him? And possibly Sei. That's what we're gonna have to figure out. I've been suspicious of Say for a while. I had either a strange intuition or just another strain of bad luck led on me on. What made me act was finally seeing the mystery announcement in testing chambers. Echo and Loud discovered Gary, the voice behind Eve, so naturally, the other encapsulated person must be Say's connection.
But what made you suspect Zero and Say had a connection to begin with?
I noticed her reaction at the Killing Game announcement. She was transfixed on that voice as if she heard it before. It's a small detail, but I couldn't shake it. From day one, I've only been suspicious of her. But like Lau, she was playing the long game. But that plan had to backfire eventually, right? So I slipped out while Gaze, Echo, and Lyle were talking. I had to investigate atmosphere about her. Returning to the foyer, I moved warily, but I didn't find any trace of them on the first floor. The only thing I found was a photo on the floor with a puncture mark in the wall near the elevator. I just missed them. Noticed the elevator was at the trial grounds, but I called for the elevator to follow after. Upon arriving the door, Missy was suddenly flung into the elevator cab with me. She dropped in bloodstains and her head hung low. I thought she might have been dead. I like to see who assaulted her and Sam Forte were in the middle of sludge. Even though Forte had a dagger in his hand, they was the one with blood all over her hands. He must have pulled the weapon away from her just for...
Oh no. No, 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 no.
Please, 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 I don't even know if I can say this on YouTube, so I'm gonna say the words in a way where you can understand, but it's not technically say it. Please tell me he didn't commit suicide. My suspicions about Say were confirmed. She was under our nose the whole time, waiting for the right move to strike. Miss E's revolver had fallen out of her coat pocket. I grabbed it and didn't think twice. I fired towards Say, but missed. Well, I thought I did. Lights went out seconds after and I couldn't see where my shot landed. I couldn't run in to check either since the elevator shot in my face and it returned me and Missy to the fire. I ran. A shot was fired and... Does that statement help? I didn't read that. There it is. That's why. He had auto on. I ran, a shot was fired, Missy was unconscious, and a blackout took over everything.
Wait for what? Is there any reason to accept this is not the truth? Oh no, auto... But Cannon and Forte fired the revolver, a gun wound. Where in that does explain the characters? We can't ignore the one thing. The Monokuma file detailed for us. There has to be some relevance. It's within reason for me to doubt the fact, aren't I?
Oh, I can explain them. What? How? Because I stabbed him in the abdomen after he was shot.
What?
Why? There's no use. Truthfully, I couldn't believe it at first, but seeing how desperate she was, I ultimately wanted to help Cannon escape. After I witnessed Cannon shot Forte from the elevator, he quickly fell and I saw his bracelet turn pink. I realized because she wasn't with Lyle or Echo, Cannon would be the most likely as the alternate, so I did what I had to do. I stabbed Forte's body several times near where the gunshot to conceal it, making it look like he had died from blood loss and patient rather than shot. Since I was the only one on the trial grounds to blame, he rejected me. After all, Hannah wants to leave just as much as any of us. Why not give her the advantage?
No way. So Cannon became the culprit without even seeing her victim fall.
Is that it? Can't argue with that. I didn't even see whether or not he died.
You're just gonna accept it?
All I know is that I fired a shot and someone ended up dead. What else is there to say? And unfortunately, as far as we know, the surrounding conditions of Forte's death are indisputable to say. But is that really all there is to it? Given that I ultimately wound up in the foyer, it stands within reason that Cannon indeed visited trial grounds, causing the elevator cap to go up and bring me back to give me down the assault. And you witnessed that I did not find the revolver on my person after I woke up. Can't argue with that, but... Listen to you! It's all been laid on the table. I'm not hiding anything. Why are they moving so fast? Is my game glitched or am I doing that? I'm sorry for continuing the victorious cycle, so won't you allow me to leave with whatever is left of my dignity? Just let me receive the punishment order. No, it's not like that. I just... Is there something bothering you? Just spit it out already. Couldn't help but think there was something missing. I was racked in my head for an answer for something. The story just feels off to me. I don't know why. Everything is out for the open. What else is there to deliberate? Nothing. Don't be a coward. Just vote me off already. There's no proof of another culprit, and then you're just endangering yourself with an incorrect vote. I'm sure something else. We can talk about that, then save you, Canon. Don't you think that you could be executed? Of course I care, but who am I to argue with these facts? They're impossible to dispute. It's my punishment. Isn't it? It's only fair that I get what I deserve. I can't fight it. I don't know what to think. None of us had an inkling of what truly occurred on the trial ground. Cannon admitted the fact that she shot Forte. Say claimed that the shot was what killed him. Say masked the gun wound by stabbing Forte several times, allowing Cannon to get a clear getaway. Since Cannon unexpectedly confessed, there's no reason for Say to keep the secret of the fact that she at the crime scene, making it appear the way they did. All I could think of her words the truth right. Canon and Say's testimony were the only thing we had to work with, yet I couldn't help but feel like there was more to this. I was struggling to find the truth in this trial, but it would lead me to a dead end. A dead end. Missy said something like that when I saw her with Forte for the first time. Ran into a dead end of sorts when we were investigating the courtroom. We couldn't find Zero or any other hints, and then we were all killed by one shortly thereafter. Something inexplicable occurred. My conscience faded. Returned to the time before we split into groups. This time, I went with Lyle's group, and I had information I couldn't have known if I didn't go to Missy's group first. I knew the testimony chamber code somehow, and Pandora incubated sister was Garrett, the ultimate cartographer. Was it possible that I need to pursue this dead end? I grit my teeth. Absurd idea. The discussion is over. There's nothing wrong. Cannon is the culprit. I looked over at my classmate who all said the same thing, painted startling in their expression. The finality of my decision. All of them were shocked, got to say. That's right. Nothing is wrong. Zero silently applauded, calling for the vote screen to the other students. Everyone was dumbfounded, but no other option lay before them. Only one vote was to be made. Is it? I don't think it's Cannon. I don't think it's Cannon. Ah! Win distinct Cannon. Thank you all for the hard work. The room looked shaken as the walls behind Kate and revealed open depths. Cannon herself simply turned to her place at the stand walls of the shadow. This is it. I fled from my stance, my feet pounding as they carried me towards the hallway beyond the walls. What on earth are you doing? I paid no attention to Gary's call. I was pursuing that dead end. I slipped in. Gary's startled explanation with all the other shocks and cries in the halls just before the walls shut. My head was thrashing from fear. Each breath I took was heavier than the last. I threw myself into an execution. Cannon! Cautiously stepped forward. A vial of darkness caused me to lose my bearings. Echo, what the hell are you doing here?
I blindly chased after Cannon's voice, each stepping taking enormous effort as I fought against my instincts of self-preservation. This isn't right.
What do you mean? You all voted for this. It's my punishment, isn't it?
She's coming closer on her.
That's right, it's your punishment. This is everyone's punishment.
Wait, what? Bearing machinery clicked into place as plus lights flooded the room. Powerful lights turned through my closed eyelids, burning the back of my head. Each flash, the sound of an object darted through the air, hit the floor before us. Each shot, are expecting no location. No, 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 no! Cannon's cry plead out miss of the gunfire. Ah! All I could do was see between the vibrant flashes of the silhouette of her body, convulsively, violently, each hit pulling her body apart. A sharp object darted past me, tearing through my coat and breaking my skin. Blood began oozing from the cut. I heard Cannon clasp for me. I started towards the sound and tried to find her, guiding my hand through the darkness in vain. Ah! Pinpricks met my hand. Needles? I fell around the ground and picked one up. It was a small, near-invisible thing on its own, but when shot at high speed, the needles became lethal. Another series of flash fired, blinding me between flashes. I saw a mangled body that used Cannon, now with its finger bloody mass. The metallic of blood filled my mouth and began to choke. Sharp pain melted its way through my throat. I buckled immediately. Pags of anguish overwhelmed my senses. If I was wrong about this, if I was terribly absurd, ridiculously wrong, then I just put my life in danger for nothing. But... following the dead end, there nothing but something strange. I lost grip on my situation. I only felt pain. The terrible sensation sank into my blood, and inflaming ache rushed through every inch of my body. If there's something bothering you, then just spit it out already. I grasped my throat. My skin was undamaged. Only thing stalling phantom pain of a needle that pierced through my throat remained. I wiped out the sweat of my brow, met the gaze, concluding facts of my explanation. Cannon, alive once more, revealed panic gaze of her own expression just a few feet away from me. She was waiting for a vote. Are you okay? Swallowing my heart, I finally realized the purpose of narrowing down currents. It gave me a glimpse of everything that could go wrong. Somehow, I'd managed to escape death twice. That's why I was able to experience an alternate history like that. I couldn't begin to fathom an explanation. I was trembling. My heart was hammered in my chest. But this were like a moment before anything in the testing chamber. I still my breath. There'd be something useful in the moment of time between coming to and consequence of the culprit of an execution. If I were gathered, I learned from the two currents ending death. Perhaps I could place together a picture of what occurred. As far as the group was aware, the only clues we had to work together were found on the crime scene, and there weren't many to begin with. Forte's body had multiple literation clustered in one area, due to Sage hiding the gunshot wound infected by Cannon. He also had a small pool of blood near the back of his neck. However, the other source of blood near the back of his head was what bothered me. Nothing clearly visible caused the injury. I didn't know how to explain this life-saving pheromone I just experienced, but I knew how to take this opportunity it gave me to find the truth. Look, I still don't think we have the full picture. Please, I can't vote for Cannon.
So you're speculating Say as well?
Not exactly, but her presence is important. If you think something's missing, then just shout it out. We won't know what's going on in the head of yours until you stop. You keep stopping the trial for no reason. That's the problem. I don't know where to start. I couldn't yet sway the group with my observation that Cannon would be wrongfully executed. I didn't have the means to explain how I knew such a thing. I just think we ought to continue blaring the details. There's something bothering me. If you could just entertain me with this, I'd like to further address the accusations. Well, Cannon admittedly she shot Forte, and she didn't know whether or not it was the shot that killed him for certain. I saw her shot him, But let's say the shot itself didn't kill him right away. As far as I could tell, the stab wounds and the subconscious hidden gun wound weren't near his vitals, they were around his lower bottom. And remember, the conditioning for lifting the darkness was to kill. Canon, when did the lights go out? They went out seconds after I fired the shot before the elevator closed. The elevator was still working though. I couldn't see a thing, but I felt the cab move, bringing me back to where without a hitch. After I arrived on the floor level, I went for the darkness in the elevator cab before running to the auditorium. She waited out in the darkness, and the darkness fell seconds after she fired. Lyle, were you just immobilized in testing chambers as Cannon was in the elevator cab? She went out to wait for the darkness as well, so that means Forte wasn't killed instantly. They must have taken advantage of the injury state, taken the dagger from him with the resistance, and retaliated. He must have fallen weak from Cannon's chance shot, and when the lights went out, Say stabbed him, finishing him off to lift the darkness. In fact, that's what you're covering Cannon's was a lie. So you really stabbed Forte to death?
Missy knows it. Cannon saw it too.
I saw?
Turn the dagger on Missy first. She had the scar to prove it. Forte would be next.
What are you talking about? I only saw Forte with a dagger facing off against you. Then why did Say acquire the dagger?
If Forte didn't push Missy away in time, we would have fallen instead. No, you can't mean that. And why not? I planned the attack after I saw you pin the dagger on the wall. I took it. If you were planning to attack, why didn't you do so when sooner? You had the perfect opportunity time when you were waiting in the elevator going to the trial ground. You're asking why I didn't attack sooner.
Hang on! Y'all are going to... What was stopping you from doing so at every pirated opportunity?
I'm challenging you to convince me of the malicious intent. It is not something I wish to hear, but...
That's enough! We weren't getting anywhere like this. But this discussion, it's impossible to make heads and tails of. We had a culprit pinned from the start, Say, but we drew out the trial for only Cannon to take ownership of a hidden gun wound. And now we're back to square one. Say must requirement for lifting the darkness. Hitting the gun wound would be intent voting Say wrong. Neither me, Missy, or Echo were at the scene, so blasting the conjure on the testimony of the most two suspicious people is it's impossible. Damn it, how can we possibly find the truth based on the hidden word and word alone? What is happening? It's Say, right? I understood Lyle's frustrations, but bearing all discussion so far, there's always been an obvious culprit staring right at our faces, but something inside me kept resisting. As I easily remember, I simply couldn't accept Say as the culprit. I had to think. Those strange current endings in death, I learned something I would not normally have. With no tangible proof of what I needed to express, I put faith in the fact with my memories and events hoping something would work out. I put my faith in believing no one here could kill, not after what happened twice already. Why did I just experience those strange occurrences? In two scenarios, my life was gravely threatening, and yet I stood here with no memories of those events. After all, they had to happen for a reason, right? It was far-fetched, but I utilized what I learned with hopes the facts learned would guide me in the right direction. I have to think about what I've come to know. The information I learned when we visited Cyrus Rooms, it was about killing game. The game was experimenting to see who would survive to who would win to overcome ultimate students. In the game, participating were paired out with each other. Close students frictionated between relationships. The game was set to denote chaos and disorder. Today was listed alongside the former student, Hito, now known to us as Zero. After Missy and Forte and I came to a dead end in our search, we discovered Cannon had been killed. Missy and Forte fell shortly after. Then I, the last one standing, heard the voice say, "You planned for escape, but it didn't near my death haze." I could recall Zero telling Say, "You don't want the prize." That even after eliminating everyone, killing wasn't the answer. I was whisked around in time somehow, back to the decision that it'd bring me to the point alive. Those were the things I leaned before, falling to my demise, falling for a spare moment, that is. Finding my new mysterious faith into me, I've wandered a different path, utilizing information that I learned from previous experience. But that information had led us here to complete another murder. Foolish to think that the experiment would be my last and I would come to relive death once again, but our discussion became deadlocked. Time I risked emulating from that strange dead and occurrence. Pursue the thing that I believed was missing from Forte's murder. It was a brief experience, but I saw the method Zero used. Its point of cannon. Small, near inevitable, needless shot, high speed, and it little before returning her here. The truth felt close, but I had inhibition rising in my chest. Tell me. What happened after Cannon shot Forte?
What happened? I stabbed Forte. How many times do I have to tell you?
You stabbed Forte, but you didn't kill him.
Isn't it obvious?
It's not! Cannon claims that before she shot you, Forte was the last one in possession of the dagger. The lights went out shortly after. From that point, no one could really say who had the dagger. And though the dagger was plunged into Forte's abdomen, giving us the impression of it being the murder weapon, I can't help but think otherwise. Primarily because the scenario we found ourselves in. This was the contestant pursuing upon us with the personalized motive spread throughout the exploration, that is, until Lyle finally personalized motive. With the heavy darkness stroke out of fear, we would be scrambling until someone acted maliciously from the previously set pursuer. But I couldn't even have to see my own hand in front of my face, let alone begin to think of a plan to kill and get away with it. So to carry it out to fruition would be near impossible. And the entire building were indeed plunged in such thick darkness, I couldn't help but think, how could any of us killed Forte?
That's an interesting phrase.
Yeah, what are you on to? Calling our group, Zero mentioned something interesting. So you all decided to split the groups, huh? That's alright, no sweat off my back, figuratively speaking, obviously. Thanks to your fancy bracelets, I can still locate where you are. There's no escaping for you quite yet. It seems that he was able to know the whereabouts within the building. In this case, he was able to locate us from our bracelets.
Are you implying Zero is taking moves actively through discreet participating in the game quest?
There's no going back. Yes, I believe Zero might have had a hand in killing 4K.
That is nonsense.
Have you lost your mind? Where are you getting this theory? I know you want us to entertain you, but isn't this a little much, isn't it? Lyle, please. I know it's a lot to ask, but I want you to trust me.
I'd like to hear where you're getting the funniest idea as well, Echo.
Lyle's interesting leer burned through me, but he fell silent and allowed me to continue. He must have been observing my next unpredictable move, just like when I suggest, knowing the testing chamber code. Zero idly gazed back at me, a compliment poker face masking whatsoever. His scheme was plotting. I felt a strange conviction that connecting an execution method with the mysterious pool of blood that was behind Forte's head would lead me into the answer I was seeking. I had to use what I learned from Cannon's execution. Death in. There's no fact. Zero prepared a bondage of needles. It's like Missy said, the more he talks, the faster his optimism would open air. If Zero's readying himself in explanation, this was my opening draw thing out from him. Zero, I want the truth. The truth that you're the one behind this.
The truth? Let's see if you can find it. You're making a ridiculous accusation, you know. How could I possibly kill a student? I can only operate from within the courtroom.
Zero is goading me. His voice is unaware, but there's a statement somewhere that I can use. I caught it! I caught it! Great
operate from within the courtroom. But that's where the body turned up, isn't it? That much was obvious. The announcement summoned to one of the courtroom. There's no evidence of crime being moved from one place to another. What weapon do you suppose I could have killed him with? The only weapon available is a dagger. Say admitted to using it, and I definitely didn't electrocute or any supersonic anyone this time around. Face it, there's nothing in this courtroom that shows I had anything to do with it. The location. Only... There's nothing in this courtroom. That is true. There was nothing in the courtroom. But there are things beyond the courtroom walls. Namely, the tools used for executions you clearly had some agency over. You convinced ominently that the cause of death before this wouldn't have the implication of someone not from our group. Based on what everyone else knows, it sounds far-fetched, but to me, it was the only thing that made perfect sense. Zero seemingly had no power in the courtroom, proving the fact that during the past 2 trials, the hologram purpose he had been purely cosmetic. That said, the machinery hidden behind the trial walls themselves could very well suffice not only as tools for the execution, but for the murderer in itself. That's how it's gonna be, huh? So are you implying I took 4K beyond the walls, executed him, and dumped his body back down? Why wouldn't I just execute him and leave his body with the rest of the punished students? You didn't do anything anyways to receive an execution anyway. I'm not heartless, you know? You're missing a piece of your argument. Echo, this discussion is going nowhere. What would Zero even have to gain from participating? I have nothing to gain from interfering. And in my position, I had certainly nothing to lose. The ultimate prize is so desirable that even in art... Why didn't Zero simply eliminate us from the start? Lyle brought up a good point. Underneath anything useful from Zero yet. What was the reason that Zero wanted the prize as well? We wouldn't have survived this long, so there has to be a reason why. Echo, this discussion is going nowhere. What would Zero even gain from participating? I had nothing to gain from intervening. And in my position, I certainly have nothing to lose. Hang on. Nothing to lose. The location and the method was clear to me, but the motivation stumped me. I had to concentrate. If Zero truly had nothing to gain by executing us all, then why did he carry out a plan to murder one of the game's participants? If he had nothing to gain, there must be something he didn't want to lose. Something he wanted to keep. Something or... someone. He wanted to protect Sei. Zero and Sei, they have some sort of connection. That very connection could become the motivation I'm looking for. Canada noticed 4K in the dagger just shot out for the light since Sei is and the room showed no signs of a gunshot in the wall. It's clear 4K must have taken the shot. 4K dagger the entire time. Couldn't have used it against Sei and was observing his afflictions against her. Then he would have a reason to consider her a threat. That has to be it. It's impossible for me to assert with any certainty what exactly occurred in the courtroom. However, I think I can think for a reason it happened. Yeah, right. And it's not for the ultimate prize. Like Lyle, if the ultimate prize was so desirable, why wouldn't Zero get rid of us all from the beginning? In that case, winning the ultimate prize had nothing to do with why Zero acted, although he isn't strictly a participant. He's still involved. The involvement, there's something connecting us as a participant to him, an overseer. Lyle, you have something very important that will complete the picture. The note. It reads, if you recognize one of the symbols depicted, you have found me and are safe. Please do not speak of this note's existence. Trust no one but yourself. Lyle discovered this note in the pantry after seeing Sei duck in there for a brief moment. They must have known something about early on the 3rd day. No, even earlier, since Zero Emblem was shown on the 2nd day. It's like Cannon said, with the Killing Game announcement came on, Sei must have been clued on the person behind it. They've known this entire time and played us for fool by ducking out confrontation. Sei is the only insider. Her student profile didn't explicitly document and involved the game, but her files was paired along with his videos, and the current one we call Zero. On the second day, Zero was summoned to us to the auditorium. Yeah, this note must have been it. Based on what we know, it's clear that Say must have had some insight on who Zero is. However, instead of thinking Say was a spy within our ranks, convincing Zero to plot against us, Zero is the one trying to bridge the gap between participants and observe to interfere with Say's safety. Huh? Wait. But if that's the case, why wouldn't Say go out of the way to direct the attention of implying herself as the culprit? Isn't that the action and directly opposing what you're implying? No, I killed 4K. He deserved it after all. Say wouldn't be forsaking her own safety by placing the blame on herself. This false culprit causing us to vote incorrectly and causing all of us to die. Zero has nothing to do with it. What Say did to 4K during the trial was on her own violation, shattering the connection between her and Zero. If he killed to keep her safe, she completely threw the settlement out the window. I'm the only culprit, vote for me. Well, Zero, what do you have to say about all of this? You never know the answer if you don't vote. If Say confessed, what's stopping you from accepting her judgment as the truth? You want to believe your friend, don't you? What's stopping me? I want to believe that she could never do something like that. That's it! Just like you're completely out of this world conject about me interfering, you have no tangible basis to trust her either. Such irresponsibility thinking could lead to an extent, you know? Zero wasn't going anywhere, shaking so easily, but the fact his arguments are lofty and intelligible gave me some stones that I could use as a trowel. I could do so by focusing the subject of motivation. Say, I'm not going to vote for you. You're the only one who knows what happened here for certain. So please, tell us why. Why are you trying hard to make us vote incorrectly? You can't possibly want us all to get executed, do you? That's exactly what I want. Complete execution. Even though Cannon admitted to something she didn't do, I went with it for the sake of redirecting the vote. Regardless if you voted for her or voted for me, it was going to be wrong and we'd all face execution. And we would finally be free from this horrible game. Say, you can't possibly believe by leading us to our demise is the right answer. Why not? I hate it. Pandora's gone, Art is gone, Cyrus is gone, Ashley is gone. And now 4K is gone, because of me. I can't stand any of this. This pain and suffering, it's endless. Zero killed 4K to protect me, but I don't care. I don't know who Zero is anymore. I came all this way to find the shell of someone I knew. When this nightmare ended, we could escape. Even if we didn't kill, someone dies, we're still stuck, we're trapped, and I'm tired of believing that something will never happen. I have nothing to lose and nothing to gain. Why? Keep going? What's the point of fighting? Everyone is slipping out of my fingers, and I'll be left alone. Alone. Say, look around you. You're not alone. What? You have nothing left to lose. But what about the people standing before you? We're enduring the pain, the guilt, the torment of surviving for nothing. Endurance. Survival. Please, we can figure this out together. It's pointless of the 11th hour. So what? Our endurance is worthless. Say spiraling. I need to convince her she's not alone. That's what fighting is. So what? Our endurance is worthless. Say spiraling. Come on. What do I do?
I don't know what I'm doing! There we go. I'm a fast spammer! But a complete execution won't solve the problem. There's another way out, I'm certain of it. There must be, so please help me. No, 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 I can't. I can't stand it anymore. I'm begging, I'm living the nightmare. Let me go. Forget, I went to stop this game too. We shouldn't forget to earn oil of our friends through Pandora, Art, Cyrus, Ashley, 4K. We can't simply abandon our memories and forget the past. I'm not going to stop this game by voting for you. I'm not going to abandon my memory of you either. Me? But I don't understand. After all we went through this trial, why just make it hopeless? Worthless, hopeless. That's not true. The truth of hopelessness was painting us square in the face. There's no denying it. But I felt a desire to combat the terror that hung over us and above all of us. After experiencing what Say did to us, our only desperation, I felt responsible to vouch for her innocence. The only way I knew how. Say, you're not alone. You're here with us as a friend. And if you're not alone and feeling scared and hopeless, everyone's trying their best to keep their heads above the water. I don't know what will happen after this or if we'll even make it out, but we have to try. But I did a horrible thing to Forte. Isn't this what the ending I deserve? It's not your fault. How can you mean all of that? I believe you. Please, I don't want us to see us going through anything like this, so you're the only one who knows for certain who's the culprit. The game will surely be over if we uncover this last truth. After all, you didn't kill Forte. How could I? Of course I didn't kill him. I was so scared. Echo was right about the motive. The fact that little by little, everyone was being pushed somewhere or into distress. I felt the pressure mounting of who the motivation was delivering. I took the dagger to protect myself. I couldn't possibly know what was going on in anyone's head after those motives, could I? I wasn't even relieved when I noticed the motive because I couldn't think of anyone else's that was going to be given a reason to turn on one another. And when Forte said he took matters into his own hands, I feared for my life. I froze and I slashed Missy as he overtook the dagger. What Canon saw was only half the story. He did appear to have the advantage over me, but it was just a performance for the only plausible person in the audience. The lights went out. Darkness, Lyle's gift, directed from his fears. Only murder will lift the darkness. What the? Forte and I were plunged into a darkness. Even though I hadn't moved, I couldn't tell where the floor was. But somehow he found me. Don't move a muscle. And it seemed quickly he took action in the darkness, lifting caution. Finally, Forte had the dagger pointed at my throat. I could feel his chilling cold steel inches away. Finally, I thought time had stopped. Forte was still as stone as the dagger pointed in my end. He whispered something so low I thought I had matched it. A stage where everyone must play a part, and mine a sad one. Ah! Then Forte just fell. When the light returned, I saw his body lying face up and a small pool of blood was forming behind his head. And I looked at the trial ground, walls closely staring as Zero's hologram with a key awful satisfying expression. He made a gesture, as he was holding an invisible camera.
Zero clued to accuse the Mark as the culprit, even though Zero killed Jorge himself. Zero planned to manipulate the outcome of the trial. See the trial play out in my head. Jorge's gun wound would have been the clue, the whole blood, his head pointing through, falling in half. I couldn't believe it. Jorge was killed because of me, and Cannon was going to be framed because of me. I picked up the dagger Jorge dropped. The culprit was never going to be found. I was going to make the trial easy, direct the blame towards me, so the wrong vote and execution could follow happen right away. Then, we wouldn't have to suffer a long trial. And the dreadful game could finally come to an end. After all, it's my fault Forte pushed over to do a thing to himself. Killing is the only answer here, so it was forced into a corner using me as bait, sacrificed himself to Zero. He went through those lengths for me. Why didn't he just kill me and be done with it? I couldn't understand what had happened. So, I thought if I could lead the trial into an incorrect vote, then the game would have, without me having to do that terrible thing, and we'd be freed from the trap. But Zero saved me. He took you out of harm's path. At least that's what he thought he was doing. Say, you know he was only trying to manipulate the blame off you, so hey, did you still try to redirect the vote to yourself? Because I have nothing to look else forward to. I ended up here for one reason or another. Signs of point towards demise. Because even after all that, whoever that Zero is, he isn't my friend anymore, and now I have nothing left. Say, you must have known by now that we are here for you. Missy's right, we've been trapped. That much is certain, but we're not isolated. We have each other, and as together, we can help each out. We'll build us hope for escape. You don't need to act alone. Akito wanted to save someone. You don't truly think this was the answer, do you? Manipulating the trial like this is untrue. Akito isn't here anymore. Since giving himself up to the game, his conclusion has been long gone. Being so delusional by his way of his fellow ultimates were treated, he dropped everything and let himself be consumed with despair. It's poetic, isn't it? He gave himself up because the game was his only thing he could clench to. It gave him purpose. In fact, Gary's also holding on to the killing game. Can you really trust her? After all, she oversaw the game just as I am. Before you release her, that is. And she didn't watch and let Pandora die. You had no idea what I went through. I see the idea that you and I watched her to die. And what have you done to prevent it since? You didn't try to stop her like I did you? So, you think Gary's on your side? Spouting an empty statement and rolling over, doing nothing but watching the game carelessly take lives? I'll tell you what, your friend Gary here is something very interesting. Don't you demonize what I did? Excuse me, I never kill anyone in my game. You, on the other hand, why you disgust me. I invited you to open the foyer door so you had one fool so you could deliver your punishment. They had no reason to trust you after all. There's no rules. Save for one. Those who kill should not get away with it. Let me try one. Gary isn't your friend, not a chance. She played a part of this game before and will do anything to keep herself from losing going forward. And from the winner circle, she did what she could to gain the advantage. She's the one who trapped you in the ship. Ship? Even if someone won the game, there'd be nowhere to go. You're completely sailed in. Left to die in isolation, confined to these walls. It's crazy, isn't it? In fact, trapping you all may be a ploy for her to kill again. Why not? It's proved once more. In fact, she's deserving being called an ultimate. You don't understand. I did what I had to do. Oh, of course I don't understand. You're the one giving hope to all these people, yet all you've done is cause trouble. Unfortunately for you, I control what occurs in this vicious circle, and I'm using this power to say... Keep me safe. You should have brought me here in the first place. I know. I was strict. This game's a facade. I want the killing game that preceded this one and received the ultimate prize. The prize of a lifetime of suffering. That's the prize? The prize. Within a group of incredibly talented visuals, someone should have defeated their fellow ultimate students to come out on top. Their efforts and achievements would be highly prized, wouldn't they? They would come out on top. That was the experiment of the preservation project was concluded. The project was to gather the very best of you for the sake of the future as if it were. The despair program has ruined it, and whatever semblance of Akito remained creating this Zero persona. Zero is the only false name we ran under the preservation game. After all, it's no surprise to me that being used again under the Crusade for a killing operated. Like that, Akito will protect, say, the safe in the Zero memory. But they must have taken the risk of what say, whether or not exactly what say act. I hardly recognize him anymore. His voice is the same. I don't know who that is anymore. There's no trace left. That's right. He's a shell of his former self. The game and trailers now inhabit the ultimate radio host. Aki wanted to erase the wrongdoing he committed for the game, and... Ready. 815165, 815165, 000. Stop! The hologram cracked out. The program was fighting itself right before our very eyes. Your efforts are wasted! You gave yourself up to despair and you're still trying to deliver a signal of hope. You defined your own actions. The very self-preservation actions that saved you in the last game. What happened to your selfishness? I sent I'll bury you! The aperture was cold. Zero was fighting itself. The experiment form and former form was trying to make safe of its own actions. Binary! What's happening? A conflict we cannot control. I had a last-ditch effort compare. It cannot overcome darkness. Light shuddered as we watched Zero's fight unfold. The Zero enemy fought to its dominance, greeting us with a haunting grin. Well, I guess you caught me, eh? Fine, jig's up. I won't resist, though. I theoretically caught the act by now. After all, I wouldn't be doing effort justice to keep fighting back after you went through so much trouble. Must have been some rotten luck that got me out of this one, huh? Who are you, Echo? I don't know how a talentless nobody managed to realize the trick I pulled off. By all accounts, you should have been executed by now. Went up according to my calculation. Cannon should have been pinned. Constituent, and the rest of you dropped into an incinerator. Although, what's stopping me from letting that happen? I'll execute myself and bring you all with me. Don't you dare. This is the last show with your host, Zero, singing off the day with the eternal dead air. Ah! The light bloomed violently over the trial ground with a blast of glaring heat. Damn it, no! The trumpets tore through the room. The sound of metal and crashing filled the holes. The lights flickered dizzyingly as we struggled to gain footing. Everyone, get down and cover your heads and neck. We all dove to the floor, earthquake jolting us to toe with ease. Ka-thunk. Shaking came down to a low rumbling, and the ground eventually settled into stillness once more. The light returned to a dim glow as the five of us casually rose to our feet. The trial grounds were quiet. Where's that bastard Zero? Lyle leapt to his feet, darting across the trial grounds for signs of the evidence. Are you alright? A continuing static hologram Gary's illuminated the room. We're fine, no thanks to you. I'm sorry, I did not the overload. We should yet bunker. Pursuing the Zero overload of the system. The adverse effect on its self-limited execution may have sped up the progress. What are you talking about? That doesn't explain where you were and why you're never helpful. Lyle, come on, we aren't fine, are we? Helped Cannon to her feet, and Missy did the same with Say. Are you alright, Cannon? A little shaky, but I'm in one piece. Thanks. Missy, Say?
We're alright. That's a relief to hear.
So, that's it, right? Huh? Zero's gone, the game is over. We're all here, aren't we? So let's get the hell out of here. Hang on! Sure, he's gone, but there's still more unanswered questions. First of all, he said we're on a ship. Even if we get out, we're still stuck drifting out to sea. If there was a testing chamber below us the entire time, it's within reason that there's a helm hidden somewhere as well.
Gary, was it... He said you were responsible for such thing, is this true?
Gary sighed.
I will answer your question in due time. For now, I would like to ask you all that the rest of the spell before it came down to the testing chambers. It's been a long day for you all.
What? And let you jump ship through concealed exit passage while our guard is down? No way.
Lyle, I understand your desire to push forward, but breaking our thoughts. Please, I'm not going anywhere. I will await your arrival.
Gary's hologram clipped as the rest of the ship folded idly. Lyle huffed and shrugged. He made his way to the elevator. Lyle looks like this was the end. There's no vote, no execution, just the end. Although Zero's destruction was provide some relief, I felt uneasy. There was still so much uncertainty lurking before us. I sighed. The rest of us followed Lyle into the elevator, and together we returned to the foyer. Us remaining 5 students left the trial ground to shout those for good.
Danganronpa.
What just happened? Is that the end? Lyle, Missy, Cannon, Say, and myself. Only 5 of us remained. Our group cut behavior in half. By the time we were forced to participate, our found its final survivors. In the same order, we shrugged out the elevator cub and returned to the foyer. I'm going ahead. Don't wait up. I want answers. Gary had better fessed up about all this. Hang on, Lyle. I want to talk to her first alone. Why? Just need to know if she gave me a talent. How could she know something like that? Something I'm not even aware of. Why me? Please. I need to know what's going on. I'm going to finish this all next episode, because I think this is the final part. I don't even know how long this video is. I've took no breaks recording this. Yeah, that's the epilogue. Also, when did this happen? Delete that. Must have been when my thing was glitching. We're gonna do the epilogue next episode. For now, thank you all for watching. I am tired.